My husband called me while I was at the gym to let me know that he was released from the Browns. And for my other NFL wives and girlfriends, you guys know how hard this time is. This is actually the first time that it's ever happened to us. We were going on our 3rd year here in Cleveland. I feel like this is the first year where I have made friends. We really like where we lived. Cleveland really grew on us. So I have no idea what this means for my family. We didn't have any family here at all. We moved 14 hours away from home. My daughter just started school. And if, God willing, he gets picked up by another team, I don't plan on staying in Cleveland because I don't have any support here. So I'll probably go back home because we are right in the thick of season and it's just like not enough time to move our whole family there.
This is the part that they don't tell you about. This is the part where it talks about being with certain people that got certain visibility that they don't tell you about. I got 2 friends. One of them is a retired NFL player, and one of them is currently in the NFL. And every day, them people live on the edge. Like, if you're not a Patrick Mahomes, and I don't have a Patrick Mahomes type of friend, you know what I'm saying? If you're not a Patrick Mahomes or you've not some superstar or former Tom Brady or something like that, every day they living on the edge because it's much different. Now, I got some friends that's in the NBA and stuff too, right? And so, their contracts is guaranteed. So once they get to a certain space, and it don't even mean that they're going to make the roster, right? They living on the edge too. But it's even worse for NFL players. And they living on the edge because they don't know whether or not they're going to have to up in their entire family. And they don't even make as much money as NBA player, as baseball players. They don't even have the type of contracts, right? So, a lot of these guys are faceless, and I don't know who her husband is either, but I just want to speak to her talking point and that, you might have to uproot your entire family and move to a completely different part of the country, and you'll never have that type of stability. And this is something that used to be normalized amongst men, not necessarily athletes, but amongst men way back in the day, in that, they had to pick up and move and go wherever the jobs was. And so that wasn't that abnormal. And when we were having that conversation on Monday night, right? And I know some of y'all was on a Monday listening to the Monday night show, and some of y'all wasn't. When we was having that conversation on Monday night, and I was saying that, hey, listen, when y'all talk about these kids and stability and stuff, and 2 parents in a household, it's not uncommon. This is a relatively newer thing where people have the type of stability, and we've normalized this type of stability. And hey, you work at the same place for a long time, and you just stay in that market. No, people are used to uprooting and everything and not having a support system and going and making whole new friends. And you might have to move a whole nother place. That comes with just being with somebody that is very high value and has a lot going on in their life. So let me hear the rest of what she's saying. And I always like to give credit to the content creators. So I'm going to link that back down in the description. And then also make sure y'all get into the Patreon. Link is in the description. And then Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. Let's get into it.
But at the end of the day, change is a good thing. Change is beautiful. With change comes opportunity. And, we're very grateful to Cleveland. And,
hope they stack that money.
We don't know where he's going to end up. He actually just left to go to the facility to talk to, I'm sure, the GM and coach. So here is to growth and opportunity. All that matters at the end of the day is that my husband is on the field and that he's playing and that he's doing what he loves, because he's worked so hard to be in the position that he is in today. And when one door closes, another one opens. We're very strong in our faith, and I know that God will take care of us and take care of our family. doesn't make this any less hard. So yeah. Trying
I hope that everything works out for him, but I can only imagine if I'm in that position, if I'm in the position where I always got to travel, I'm going to set up shop in the place that I'm going to be at after I'm already be, after I decide that my career is over in that space. And that's where I'm going to build the majority of what I got going on. I'm never going to be dependent on a job. I've never been dependent on a place. I don't suggest that anybody else do it. I think that where people set up shop and where it is that they should spend the majority of their investments is where they plan on making their home base for the rest of their life. Thankfully, I've never had to go through something like this, but I can only imagine how traumatizing it must be if you have not gotten comfortable and learned how to normalize being on the up and up and moving. And so I don't even know how you can start a family. I don't even know how you can have that level of stability. But again, this is the part of it because we see the clothes, we see the cars, we see the flying and the trips and the jewelry. The two things that you don't see or you don't hear about is what happens when somebody get traded or what happens when somebody get cut and they don't know. Man, and listen, I've had Uber drivers. I've literally had Uber drivers, and I had former NFL player Uber drivers, but I've had college football champion Uber drivers that would have their championship ring on and they trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And they'll tell their story and they'll tell you what's happening and so on and so forth. And I don't shame nobody that's trying to get it. Like for example, I see what's happening with Dame Dash, and now I'm less reluctant to even have a conversation about it. I heard that Charlemagne, for example, reacted to it again separately from what was said on the Breakfast Club and was like, yo, it's kind of like rubbing salt in wounds. But when I see people going through it financially, it's different if you committed a crime. You know what I'm saying? It's different if you doing something negative against, your neighborhood or you doing somebody dirty or you robbing somebody. But when I just see people going through it financially, I just have sympathy for them. That's a soft spot. I don't want to see nobody going through it or whatever like that. And I'm not saying that they going through it financially, but obviously if he getting cut from the team, then he got to try to make another roster and he got to try to figure that out. And he got a little kid and stuff. So, I like to hear stuff like this and I like to occasionally step outside of what we would normally see to have more conversations about things like this because I think that these are pertinent conversations and I think that everybody also think that living a dream only goes one way, but that's another side of it. It's a whole other side where people got to go through it. It's a yin and a yang to everything. And so shout out to her for telling her story. But it's a lot of wives that ain't wives of superstars that don't have that level of stability and they still could get cut. You know what I'm saying? And people go broke after 5 years on average in the league. And I don't know if they got their money stacked up and stuff. And so, I hope that everything works out well and I hope they land on their feet. But another cautionary tale for us to take into consideration when we always pedestalizing these people. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all get that Teach Henley 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. And then last but not least, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm out. Peace.